Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your continued support. In case you are watching for the first time, allow me to request you to take a second or two and hit that subscribe button and then follow it with the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you whenever we release a video like this. You can also like and share our videos. We begin on a sad note because the KDF has released a statement that over 8 people are feared dead after one of their helicopters crashed in Boni forest in Lamu. And the statement says that this accident occurred yesterday night, and that helicopter carried a crew that were part and parcel of the ongoing surveillance and patrol in the Boni forest. You all know by now that Boni forest is feared to be infested by terrorist groups, especially Alshabab. And Kenya has always maintained both day and night patrols, and it is always an air surveillance because it is a very thick forest. We have had some altercations many a times between the Kenyan soldiers and the Al-Shabaab group. So this was just a part of the ongoing surveillance as it has always continued, and the crew on board were doing a very good job. Now they have released a statement. They are also saying that there is a board of inquiry that has been constituted to try and investigate the cause of the crash, because many times when such happens there are a lot of speculations, and the KDF does not want their affairs to be discussed so much. So we have very scanty details. They are only saying that a board of inquiry has been reconstituted and they want to try and unravel the cause. The evacuation has also begun because a team has been sent there to try and evacuate. In this process, they will look at whether we have got any survivors. Those who have been seriously injured would be taken to the hospital under the ICU or high dependency unit, and if we have any casualties, people are dead, then they will be taken to the mortuary for DNA test, for identification, I think, by the family, and maybe to be given a befitting send-off, because these are gallant men and women who we say die on course of duty, and so we salute them. And the KDF pens off by saying that they send their condolences even to the families and friends of the dead. And this is the statement that the KDF gave. They said that a Kenya Air Force high helicopter has crashed last night while on night patrol in Lamu County. The crew and other military personnel on board were part of an air surveillance squadron intensifying day and night patrols and surveillance for the ongoing operation Amani Boni. That was the statement for the KDF. But I will tell you that whenever we hear of air crashes and accidents within the KDF or involving our most trusted uniformed men, then there are a lot of fears, and I will tell you why. Number one, the question that comes in mind is that, are we under the mercy of the terrorists? Because Boni forest is infested, as I said earlier, by the terrorist group. There's a possibility that this aircraft was crashed by the Al-Shabaab. But one thing, I know the government might not just be very honest and tell us that it was crashed, because one, this will instill fear in within the citizens, because once we realize that our soldiers can be killed anyhow, then we begin to wonder, are we really safe, because we have entrusted our security to the KDF. And again, the government would not want to expose themselves, because already Ruto is really grappling with security, insecurity within the country, whether it is the internal insurgency, the terrorists within Kenya. We have those who the castle rustlers, we have robbery, and this is something that is really becoming a thorn in his flesh, and therefore they cannot just come out openly and declare that it was the Al-Shabaab that shot the helicopter, because this is really, it's like the political mileage is going, because people will say that he did not have a plan of security. Already, you know, we have a lot of challenges, the economic, political, social, and insecurity. So people will tell you, Nabuto, that maybe you are not up and you're not fit for this job. So they will not tell us. Number two, you know, the aircraft could have as well, for example, carried on board maybe the Minister for Defense, because sometimes they can decide that they want to go and survey together just to show maybe Eden Duale or any other personality, senior personnel there, to just see what is going on board. You've seen sometimes ministers in charge, like Kithure Kindiki sometimes visits a scene where people have been abducted, people have been killed, just to see for himself, because it's a normal routine and a normal practice for a minister to go and find out for himself. So, for example, if maybe Eden Duale was on board with the other senior officials, maybe the permanent secretary there, the minister, or sometimes even the president himself, can decide to go and see for himself, because as a leader sometimes you want to, and then they are crushed. So these are the fears whenever we hear that a KDF helicopter has crashed. It does not mean well, and people really want to hear very minimal, headlines about such accidents, even though an accident is an accident. Number two, the question of maintenance come to mind, because this is the second time a KDF helicopter crashes, and experts are really asking the airworthiness of these aircraft. Are they really maintained well? We are in a country where people don't trust the government, I can assure you, because we're dealing with a very cunning government. We would even think that maybe money that is meant for maintenance is not being, utilized well. Even though personally I believe that the KDF is a jack of all trades. Whenever they are recruiting, you will have engineers, doctors, teachers. They have personnel in every sector. And I want to believe that they've got the right people to maintain these aircrafts. But when you see, like this is now the second time in a year, we have an aircraft involving our security department, then it is really wanting, and that question must be asked, and even we would even involve Parliament to inquire whether we have the right machinery, the right artillery, the right vehicles, the right aircraft. Are they maintained well? Are they outsourced well during the purchase and procurement? Are we following the right procedure? So these are things that come to mind, and it is very sad that the most entrusted department, is encountering such problems. Number three, in a country, and because we've got a history of eliminations through aircraft, the mystery of the death of the former security minister, now they are long gone, Mr. Honorable George Saitoti, and his assistant, Oro Jode, who crashed in the air in an helicopter, is a mystery that has never been unraveled. And there are fears that these were political assassinations. Coupled with this, people fear that there could be men on duty who are in line for promotion, and someone can just sit somewhere and decide to eliminate them. For example, you know that the KDF has a rule now called the Tonje rule, where you know very well that they are rotating the position of their lead, the chief of defense force, from the Kenya Navy to Kenya Air Force to Kenya Army. So someone can just sit down and calculate that in the next 10 years, the next person in line would be Fred Achando. And so what do? You do it early enough. You just put them on board, they are in surveillance, and then the aircraft crashes and is gone, thereby, taking him away in line, so that you have your people being promoted, because under the Tonje rule, you cannot bypass a senior personnel. You have to follow that line. That is the reason why, even though the regime did not want the promotion of now the General Ogola to assume that position, that Tonje rule compelled the government and the president to give him that position because there was no choice. So people fear because we have a cunning government, we have a lot of mischief going on, and this is the reason why there are a lot of questions whenever we wake up to news that a KDF helicopter or a vehicle has crashed. But from where we are, we wish, we will send our really deepest condolences to the families and friends of the fallen heroes, because that is who they are.